Imagine finding like a public diary just left open on a park bench. But it belongs to this brilliant mind, and get this, it's from the year 2026.
Right, which immediately throws you off.
Exactly. So you flip to the first page, and they're dissecting the emotional capacity of artificial intelligence, right? Like comparing the nuanced outputs of Claude and Gemini.
Oh yeah, really technical stuff.
Super technical. But then you turn the page, and they are detailing their own, like, crushing psychological trauma, describing their inner world as a sinking ship.
Yeah, massive shift in tone.
And then, I mean, you turn one more page, and they're just reviewing a duck.
A literal duck.
Right. So welcome to today's deep dive, you guys. Today we are looking at this highly obscure digital artifact. It's a YouTube channel called Mila KBH.
Yeah, the handle is at Mila Podcast 123.
Yeah.
And honestly, saying it's obscure is, well, it's almost an understatement.
Oh, totally.
Because the scope of this channel presents this really striking paradox. It boasts a prolific 95 videos, right? And like you said, a lot of them are bizarrely clustered around future dates.
Yeah, like specifically April 2026.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yet despite 95 uploads, it has a grand total of 3 subscribers.
3! Literally 3 subscribers.
It's wild.
I mean, a lot of these videos have 1 view, 2 views, or just 0. It's aggressively unconcerned with playing the YouTube game.
Right. There's no flashy thumbnails.
No thumbnails engineered to hack your dopamine receptors. No desperate pleas to, smash the subscribe button. Nothing.
It doesn't want to go viral.
Exactly. It reads like this deeply personal, intellectual, and emotional time capsule from a future that hasn't even happened yet. It's documenting a very raw present. So our mission today for you listening is to basically figure out what is actually going on inside this archive.
Yeah, because what we're looking at is a real-time snapshot of a mind at work. It's an entirely unique blend of high-level technological analysis, incredibly dense philosophical frameworks, and then these deeply vulnerable personal explorations.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. And to understand it, you really have to look at how the creator refuses to separate the machine world from the human condition.
Well, I want to start exactly there, actually, with this absolute obsession with non-human intelligence, because I feel like that gives us the baseline for everything else.
Oh, absolutely. It's the foundation.
Right. So you scroll through this channel and you see these highly specific text titles. You've got ChatGPT versus Claude versus Gemini, and another one just called Claude versus Gemini.
Standard AI stuff on the surface.
On the surface, yeah. But then you see titles in Danish like A personlighed, which translates to AI personality, and A emotionality, meaning AI emotionality.
Right. And the distinction in those specific titles tells us basically everything about the creator's intent.
How so?
Well, they aren't running standard benchmark tests,
Yeah.
They aren't trying to see which AI writes Python code faster or which one solves math equations with fewer errors.
Like most tech channels do.
Exactly. Instead, they are actively probing the psychology of the machine. They're looking for a personality.
Well,
Yeah, they are questioning the architecture of these models to see if they possess anything resembling emotionality.
but wait, looking at AI emotionality doesn't inherently mean they're trying to anthropomorphize the tech, right? Or connect it to human psychology.
That's a fair point.
Like, couldn't they just be running standard Turing-style tests just to see if, like, Claude can emulate empathy convincingly enough to pass as human?
I mean, if those videos existed in a vacuum, I would totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the architectural layout of the entire channel.
Okay, right.
Sitting directly adjacent to those AI evaluations are videos focusing heavily on human cognition.
Oh, you mean the videos specifically titled Autism and Dyslexic?
Yes.
Which, by the way, that dyslexic video happens to be one of the more viewed ones with like 31 views.
Yeah, that's a blockbuster for this channel. And along with those, there's a video called Indre Verden, meaning inner world, and another one titled Neuroplasticität, or neuroplasticity.
Okay, so they're putting them side by side.
Precisely. When you view an artificial neural network side by side with human neuroplasticity and autism, this distinct narrative really emerges.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. Think about how a large language model parses text. It doesn't read a sentence linearly and, understand the definition of words like a standard neurotypical brain processing a textbook.
Right, it doesn't just read left to right and get the meaning.
Exactly. It converts words into tokens, maps them in this massive multidimensional coordinate system, and then it just predicts what comes next based on mathematical proximity.
So it's finding connections that aren't obvious on the surface at all. It's operating on a completely different structural logic.
Yes. It hallucinates, It bypasses conventional logic entirely.
Yeah.
Processes information in a way that is, frankly, fundamentally alien to the societal norm.
Which honestly sounds exactly like the experience of moving through the world with a neurodivergent brain.
It really does.
It's like, okay, standard cognitive processing is taking the interstate highway. It's direct, it's paved, everyone agrees on the rules of the road.
I like that analogy.
Right. But an LLM, or a dyslexic brain, or an autistic brain, takes these incredibly winding, complex backroads.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that backroad hits a dead end, resulting in an AI hallucination or, cognitive overstimulation. But other times, that backroad reveals a brilliant shortcut or a scenic view the interstate drivers completely miss.
That is a highly accurate way to visualize it. I mean, the channel is basically asking what it means to process information differently.
Yeah.
Whether you are a dyslexic human struggling with standardized text, an autistic individual navigating complex social cues, or even an evolving large language model trying to parse human emotion.
You're an outsider in all those scenarios.
Exactly. You are an outsider to the standard way of thinking. This creator seems to be finding this strange kinship with artificial intelligence.
Because they're both navigating a world that wasn't built for their specific type of cognitive processing. That is fascinating.
It really is.
But so, if you have a brain that inherently takes the cognitive backroads, what happens when those backroads are completely blocked?
That is the big question.
How does this mind process intense friction? Because as you keep scrolling through this archive, you listeners will notice the tone shifts dramatically.
That's very dark.
Super dark. You hit this wall of much more visceral titles. There's one simply called Trauma and another called Vauxifra Trauma, which is growing from trauma.
Yeah.
Then you see Stress in the Body's Alarm, Human Suffering, and one that really caught my eye, Sinking Ship.
Yeah, that one is heavy. We are basically seeing the transition from processing information to processing pain.
Right.
The mechanics of the mind are now being tested under immense, crushing pressure. You mentioned the title Sinking Ship, which it pairs chillingly with another video titled Boreout.
Okay, actually, explain the concept of Boreout for us, because I think people hear that and might just think of someone, I don't know, twiddling their thumbs at a boring desk job.
Right, like standard boredom.
Yeah, but it's much more severe than that, isn't it?
It is significantly more destructive than mere boredom. Boreout is really the psychological inverse of burnout.
Okay.
Burnout is the collapse from doing too much, right? From a relentless barrage of stress. Boreout is the deep, chronic suffering caused by being profoundly understimulated.
Wow, okay.
It is a structural lack of purpose. It's the psychological decay that happens when a highly capable mind is trapped in an environment that demands absolutely nothing of consequence from it.
That sounds agonizing.
It is. Combine that chronic decay with a sinking ship and a literal body's alarm, and you have a portrait of just complete systemic internal collapse.
Man. There's even a video titled Armeen Poferin, which translates roughly to In the Arms of Danger or In the Arms of the Father, depending on the exact context.
Yeah, the ambiguity there is telling.
It feels incredibly intimate and painful, but I actually have to challenge this next part.
Okay, go for it.
Because the creator doesn't just sit in this pain, right?
Yeah.
They immediately turn to high-level philosophy. They bring in the Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski and the German philosopher Hegel.
Yes, very dense thinkers.
Right. You see titles like Dabrowski and Positive Disintegration, alongside Hegel, The Spirit Cloes Journey, and Hegel and the End of Art.
They are leaning heavily on those frameworks, definitely.
But Dabrowski and Hegel are notoriously dense. Is it possible, and just hear me out, that this creator is just over-intellectualizing their pain to avoid actually feeling it?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Because it's a very common defense mechanism, right? To build a theoretical fortress around your trauma so you just don't have to deal with the raw, messy emotion of it.
That is a totally valid skepticism. But the application of these specific theories suggests the exact opposite, actually.
Really? How so?
The intellectualization isn't a shield to block the pain, it's a scaffold.
A scaffold, okay.
Yeah, a shield keeps the trauma out, but a scaffold gives you a structure to climb out of the wreckage. Let's look at Dabrowski's theory of positive disintegration first, because it is the exact lens through which this creator is viewing their trauma.
Oh, I actually want to break this down for you listening because this concept fundamentally changes how you view a personal crisis.
It really does.
Imagine you have this massive, complex Lego house, right? You built it a long time ago, and for a while, it protected you.
A great way to picture it.
But as you've grown, the house just isn't functional anymore. The doors don't open, the roof caves in under the slightest pressure.
It's structurally failing.
Exactly. Now, standard psychology might tell you to just, patch the roof, put some tape on the door, fix the symptoms.
Right.
But Dabrowski says no. The house is structurally unsound. Positive disintegration is the agonizing, chaotic process of smashing that Lego house into a messy pile of individual bricks.
And what people mistake for an illness, like this severe anxiety, the depression, the Boreout, the feeling of being on a sinking ship.
That's the smashing.
Yes. It's actually just the sound of the bricks hitting the floor.
Yeah.
Dabrowski argued that psychological tension and suffering are not necessarily diseases to be cured.
Which is such a wild reframing.
Completely. He saw them as absolutely vital stepping stones for personality growth. The disintegration of the old self is structurally required to reach a higher moral and emotional plane.
Okay, so when the creator posts trauma and then vokes fra trauma alongside positive disintegration, they are utilizing that scaffold you mentioned.
Exactly.
They are telling themselves that the messy pile of bricks isn't the end of the story. They just have to use those exact same bricks to build a much stronger, more complex castle.
Which brings us directly to Hegel, honestly, because his core philosophical mechanism aligns perfectly with Dabrowski's psychological one.
Right, the Hegel videos.
In the video titled Hegel, the Spirit's Journey, the creator is referencing the Hegelian dialectic.
Ah, the thesis, the antithesis, and the synthesis.
Correct. Hegel posits that all historical and personal progress requires conflict.
It's unavoidable.
You start with a thesis, so let's call it the creator's initial state of mind, perhaps the state that led to the Boreout. Then that thesis encounters an antithesis.
Which is the trauma, the direct contradiction.
Exactly, the sinking ship event. They clash violently. But from that painful conflict, a new, higher synthesis is born.
So the pain isn't a tragedy.
No, it is the engine of the spirit's journey.
Wow. It gives the suffering profound utility. Even that title, Hegel and the End of Art. I mean, Hegel believed that art was a necessary stage for humanity to understand absolute truth, right?
You did, yes.
But eventually we would outgrow it and philosophy would have to take over. You can totally see the creator applying this to their own life.
How do you mean?
Well, simply making standard YouTube content like the art phase, it's no longer sufficient to process their reality. They have to move into the raw philosophical documentation of their own mind.
That is a brilliant observation.
Yeah.
And honestly, if the channel stopped there, we would have a remarkable, though intensely heavy, audio textbook on cognitive mechanics and existential survival.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop there.
No, it does not.
And this is where the channel shifts from a fascinating psychological study into something genuinely magical, in my opinion. It's the sudden, sharp, almost whiplash-inducing turns into the beautifully mundane.
The eclectic nature of the diary.
Yes! Like, you are scrolling through this profound existential crisis. You are deep in the trenches of the Hegelian dialectic and the agony of positive disintegration.
Very heavy stuff.
And suddenly, interspersed among these recurring future dates like 1 April 2026, 30, March 2026, you are hit with the most varied, specific, and absurd titles.
That's incredible.
You have a video simply titled Duck, followed up a little while later by Real Duck 2.
Just a duck.
Just a duck. You have a video called Saffron, just saffron, the spice.
The contrast is totally jarring.
It's beyond jarring. You have bizarre biology and the surprising truth behind monopoly. You have historical detours, like Ottoman system rise and fall, sitting right alongside what is art.
It's all over the place.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, and you listening at home, I want you to think about this too. If positive disintegration requires smashing the mental Lego house to process trauma, where do the ducks and the board games fit in?
Right.
Like, what do we make of a mind that pivots from an incredibly dense video on Hegel to a 1-minute video titled Metafictive to Min Maj, which is a metafictional 2-minute seagull, and then immediately pivots to debating movie at home versus the theater?
It looks like pure chaos, I grant you that. But it actually illustrates another vital concept found in one of the channel's own video titles.
Oh, which one?
Jernan's Dreamhouse, or The Brain's Dreamhouse.
What we are seeing is a mind that absolutely refuses to compartmentalize its reality.
The brain's dreamhouse. I love that phrasing.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Because think about it. We live in an era where everyone curates their digital personas.
Oh, totally.
You have your highly sanitized professional LinkedIn self. You have an aesthetic, visually pleasing Instagram self. You have your unhinged, anonymous, late-night Reddit self.
We slice ourselves into little boxes. Exactly. We slice our consciousness into digestible, algorithm-friendly niches. But Mila K is a genuine, uncurated representation of human consciousness in all its messy totality.
Which means the profound and the mundane aren't actually opposed to each other at all.
Not at all. When you are undergoing the kind of psychological demolition Dabrowski describes, your brain doesn't just pause the rest of physical reality.
Right. You still have to wake up and exist in the world.
You still notice the bizarre biology of a bird waddling across a park. You still form opinions on the strategic flaws of monopoly.
Yeah.
The historical collapse of the Ottoman Empire lives in the exact same brain space as a poem the creator wrote, literally titled Et Dictic Skrev, a poem I wrote.
In a way, those mundane videos are grounding techniques, aren't they?
That's a great way to look at it.
When your inner world is a sinking ship, observing a real duck, or making a 1-minute video called the universal shh, it tethers you to the physical present. It's the noise of being alive.
Yes. It is a reminder that a mind processing deep trauma and high-level artificial intelligence is also a mind that has to figure out what to eat for dinner.
Right.
The philosophical and the trivial are co-tenants in the brain's dreamhouse.
That is so well put. Let's bring all these threads together for the listeners.
Okay, let's do it.
We started with this tiny YouTube channel, right? An archive with just 3 subscribers and a handful of views mysteriously dated in April 2026.
Yep.
Yet, within the span of 95 videos, we found a bridge connecting the absolute cutting edge of non-human intelligence evaluating Claude and Gemini to the deepest questions of human neurodivergence.
Comparing those artificial models to the processing styles of autism and dyslexia.
Exactly. And then we observe how the creator utilizes the dense frameworks of Hegel's dialectic and Dabrowski's positive disintegration, not as intellectual shields, but as necessary scaffolds.
To process that raw human trauma and the structural decay of Boreout, turning a sinking ship into a vital journey of the spirit.
And crucially, we saw how all of that heavy existential lifting sits right alongside observations of ducks, metafictional seagulls, and debates about watching movies at home.
The whole spectrum of life.
The reason this matters to you listening, the ultimate takeaway here, is that we are constantly conditioned to brand ourselves.
Yeah, we really are.
We edit out the contradictions of our own personalities just to be understood by the algorithms that dictate modern society.
But Mila K stands out as a radical act of authentic self-documentation. It is a testament to the beautiful, chaotic neuroplasticity of the human experience.
It really is.
It reminds us that our own minds are incredibly eclectic. We are all capable of pondering the rise of artificial intelligence, surviving a profound internal crisis, and finding deep, genuine meaning in a duck, all in the exact same afternoon.
It really makes you realize how much of your own complexity you hide on a daily basis.
It does.
Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. If you were to create a completely unfiltered digital archive of your own brain over the next 7 days, mixing your absolute deepest traumas, your highest intellectual curiosities, and your most delightfully mundane observations without any fear of an algorithm judging you, what would your video titles look like?
That's a great question.
Think about it. Would you be brave enough to leave your diary open on the park bench?